Hello, today I'm playing the HD Renovation version of Karamari Hospital, which has recently been released. This is a what if scenario. The story of the game is you go inside the elevator and what if there was a hospital deep underground? And every day is Wednesday, according to the Wendigo. In the original Spookies, Karamari Hospital was paid DLC. Although DLC may be the wrong word for it, it was actually a standalone game. Even though if you go on Steam it says that it requires the base game of Spookies to run. According to Sheena, one of the main devs, this isn't the case. There's just no way to change Steam saying that.
I don't know how you got all the way down here. I didn't even remember there were rooms down here. Well, good luck.
The reason Spooky is wearing that nurse's outfit is because this is New Game Plus. Although you start off with this axe, it's absolutely useless. You cannot hurt a single thing. Straight away you can see the world is very foggy, it's very Silent Hillish. Unfortunately, the effects they use to create this fog, I really don't like it. You can see me moving back and forth, and if you look near the bottom of the screen you can see these horizontal lines. While it adds a bit of PlayStation 1 era charm to it, I'm not too keen in that this is meant to be HD renovations, not exactly high definition in my eyes. You use this water fountain to save the game. It's the only save point in the hospital. The screen going red is a reference to the Silent Hill games, particularly Silent Hill 3, in that whenever Heather saves the game I believe the screen turns red before it goes to the save screen, and it makes a very similar noise. Now because this is New Game Plus, we can open this door. In the original game it's closed. In the version of Karamari Hospital that came out in 2015, that guy is a lot bigger. Makes it more threatening as well because it's almost like you're trapped, whereas here he's just a very tiny man. Dr. Hamada, oncologist. The patient has displayed an increased depression after being informed of their terminal disease. I prescribed an antidepressant to regulate this, but was later told I had to cancel the prescription. I have no memory of cancelling the meds, nor can I find any evidence that my orders were tampered with. The immediate goal is to head downstairs because this is essentially a series of fetch quests. The first thing you need to do is head into the break room and you'll find a key. And a fancy soda machine. Nurse Tanaka. It seems we are losing patients due to surgical complications much more often than normal. What have the doctors been doing? Half of these procedures seem completely unnecessary. I know the doctors and surgeons are above me, and they probably know many things I don't, but this is getting strange. You see this massive blob of flesh in the way? You have to destroy it with acid. In the original game it made a noise when you killed it, but here it's just completely silent. There were two ways to kill it in the original game, one involving a load of acid, and the second way is to kill it with a sword available only in New Game Plus, which we will be getting. However, you can't use a sword to kill it. In this version of the game it's completely immune in HD renovations. Dr. Hamada, oncologist. It seems the other me has been giving him large doses of hallucinogenics. They have worsened the depression and he is constantly screaming and expressing terror at random intervals. I tried using a dialysis machine to remove some of the drugs, but it seems futile. Nurse Tanaka. I blacked out today while driving to work. One minute I was driving down the road and then in an instant I was standing outside my car staring down at a dead cat. I must have hit it with my car and felt sorry. The image of that dead cat has unnerved me today. How did I manage to hit it in such a way to make the body completely twisted around like that? Now that we've got the sword, we can kill most enemies in the game. It has a weird effect in comparison to what it did in the original version of Karamari Hospital, and it makes a different noise. There's little changes like that all throughout. Different graphics, some different sound effects, but overall it's almost exactly the same. There's a few complaints I have with Karamari Hospital. This is one of them. So you see this sign, it says remember wash your hands, clean your work surface, work hard and have a nice day. This game is called HD Renovation, and yet this isn't HD at all. It's incredibly blurry and very difficult to see. These images are taken directly from the original version of Spookies, and it's a pity, as I thought, as they were going from Game Maker to Unity, which is what this is using now, you would have thought they'd completely use new assets, but no. Now that we've turned off the power, this entire place now has this dark red tint to it, very spooky. You can hear this buzzing noise in the background. The reason for that are these, the televisions, and they get louder when you get closer to them. You can hear the buzzing in this main hallway even though there's no TVs in this room in particular. Here's our first enemy. Like in the original Karamari Hospital, he's a 3D model. If you were to kill him right now, this is an invisible wall, so you still can't get past him and open this door. The way to activate him is you have to leave the room. Once you've left and re-entered, he's now moving. However, he is incredibly jittery. When I first did a video on Karamari Hospital back in 2015, I said that this guy was complete eye candy because he's not a threat at all. All he does is walk around. He can hurt you, but if you walk away from him very slowly, that's still faster than what he can manage. So let's kill him. Dr. Kanagawa, hematologist. The patient did not recover from the blood loss. I feel that there is a monster inside my head and it's pushing me away while it works on something. I wake up in the patient's room standing over him while an arterial catheter was in the patient, letting him just bleed out onto the floor. You can hear these screams saying please help me. The voice actor for this is Matt from Two Best Friends. I'll put a link in the description of their YouTube channel. It's my absolute favourite Let's Play channel and I heavily recommend it. You can see this red effect, this like blood fog effect, completely falls flat here because if you look through the blood you can see that the fog also doesn't go with it. Not very impressive considering the whole HD Renovations tag. Now I want to show you something else. This chair will kill you, so if you ever do play Karamari Hospital for yourself, do save the game so you don't have to repeat it all over again. This is a very long process and I will be editing the amount of time that I sit in this chair. The first thing that you see is all of these little speckles start to appear. And then after a certain amount of time, a lot of faces begin showing up. It's very spooky faces. They look black and white images and it's this smiling man with grinning teeth. And now blood is appearing on the floor. It used to be faint at first, but now it's incredibly prominent. The screen's getting very blurry, and the face is now showing up. It's an interesting effect how they do all of these sparkles. I'm moving left and right, and you can see some of the sparkles are completely static and are essentially glued to my camera, whereas others move around in like a 360 pattern. The room is getting dark. We should be coming to an end soon. There we are, all over. There's a man here. We can kill him. And then you can sit down. Bloody hell, that scared the shit out of me. That was rather loud. You wake in a wasteland not meant for you. The ground underneath you screams. The sky above violently pours on you. And I can't read the rest. Your soul wanders an endless maze. The reason that made me jump is because I deliberately chose throughout my playthroughs of this mode to not sit down because I wanted to make it a little bit of a surprise when any scares that would occur finally hit me. There's another thing as well, you can get killed by a ghost called Becca, and I have not done that, so that if I do get spooked then you do get my genuine reaction. Nurse Tanaka. Something sinister is beating on the walls of my subconscious, beating like a war drum, motioning me down to the march of hell. We need to pick up this medallion, which is incredibly Resident Evil like. If you ever played those games, that made me jump a bit then. If you ever played the Resident Evil games, that's all about medallions and emeralds that you insert in statues, stuff like that. This is an invisible wall, so you can't run past it. This guy's a complete pushover, so I'm not even running, and I'm faster than him. He can do a little trick on you, and that's this. If you turn right, there he is again. You don't even need to run. It's not a threat at all. You run through this door and that's the end of him. Let's finish him off. Now that we have the acid, we can destroy the blob monster. I'm disappointed that it doesn't make a noise, because in the original version it does, you can hear it burn. Due to reasons like that, this is actually sort of inferior to the original version of Karamari.
This place is much bigger than I thought it would be. It's very interesting. Well, keep going, recruit, and I'm sure you'll make it out. Maybe.
Dr. Tochigi, hepatologist. I was informed that the procedure to extract the patient's liver became fatal. I do not know why. Why did we take his liver? There were no donation requests and he was showing signs of improvement. The surgical staff told me I personally demanded the liver be removed for an emergency transplant, and the worst thing is I found it. I found his liver, his entire liver, just sitting on my desk. With the medal inserted in the wall, we then get to access the secret spooky basement, which is completely damp. There are 3 monsters down here in a little mini game. As you're running down the stairs, pay attention and you can see a lot of organs. That's some intestines, there's some small bowel, and there's some kidneys. Whoa! A wiggly liver. That is something I've never noticed before. Even in the original game, which I've completed absolutely tons, I never noticed this wiggling around. You can hear these really horrible breathing noises, it's quite disturbing. In front of us is this mouldy stain. In the original version of Karamari, you can click on it and it says it's cold, but if you kill a monster, it says it's warm instead. Let me show you Sunshine Academy. I'm not going to be playing through all of Sunshine Academy, I'm just going to give you a quick run through. The reason for that is because it's completely identical to the Sunshine Academy that was added in the original Karamari Hospital. It was added several months after it came out, same as something called the deformity wing. One thing I do like is that you can move the camera around while you play. If you want to see a full version of Sunshine Academy, I'll put a link in the description of one of my YouTube videos, because I already have done one on Sunshine and it's identical to the version in HD Renovations. It's quite a spooky game. You are talking to this girl over the course of about 4 days, and as time goes on your responses get increasingly disturbing, like I feel my eyes are melting, and the reply is I'm glad, stuff like that. You can also flirt to the girl. At one point you go around to where she lives and she says she lives at the second house on the left. If you complete the game and play it again, she can ask you where you live and you can say you live on the second house on the left. As of right now you can see that weird things are happening. She's a zombie and options are like your skin pulls across your skull and your water is leaking, your eyes are burning like flies. And then she chokes you out like David Carradine. Most endings end up like that, where the girl is zombified and she keeps saying the exact same things like you're a murderer, you're a killer. However, if you play it right and you say a very select set of options, she gets scared of you and she reports you to the teachers, and this gets you sent away. Although it says game over, you lose, in some ways you actually win, because it means the girl gets to stay alive and she is now away from you. You always murder her unless you do that option. Now, there's a little shiny light. If you've watched my original video on Karamari Hospital back in 2015, you'll know what this is. I have not played through this in HD renovations because I just want to keep it a bit genuine. At no point have I ever faked reactions, and I never intend on doing so. I am actually quite worried now. Oh no. This is so bad. Why do I put myself through this? Is she getting closer to me? I wonder if I can run away. Oh wow. Oh, you can. Yeah. Even though I was running forward for ages, you can actually turn around. The character we're about to see apparently is called Becca. She is meant to be a reference to Rebecca Black, the singer of Friday. I can see her a bit more clearly now. You can see her arms and her legs, so she is definitely getting closer. And there she is. Don't get up before Saturday, even though the poster at the start of the game says every day is Wednesday. There's something I want to mention here. If you look at this little monstrous baby, and you can see this, what looks like a nurse or some sort of researcher. The fact that this game is set in a hospital and is very Japanese inspired, with all the names being Japanese, like Dr. Tanada and Hitoshi, stuff like that. It's a deliberate thing because if you play the base game of Spookies, the final boss, the floating red man, the description for him says that he was inducted into what was called Unit 731. For those of you that aren't aware of World War II history on the eastern side, Unit 731 was basically a torture / research camp where the Japanese rounded up a load of Chinese people and Russians among other groups and decided to basically torture them in the name of research and science. They did things like what happens if you remove blood from a human being and inject it with animal's blood. What happens if you put a man in basically frozen water, like in super cold water, and wait for frostbite to set in. And they did absolutely tons of research, like with very, very grim results. It was horrifying. But when World War II ended, what occurred was the Americans said, "We will give you all immunity if you give us the research data." Oh, and here's a hospital patient. So this guy, he only moves when you don't look at him. He's quite an interesting character, that man. The death scream for him says something about there are worms eating inside his brain. And in Sunshine Academy, you can select options like the flies are tearing apart my mind, things like that. On the Steam forum, someone suggested that maybe that guy is the protagonist of Sunshine Academy. As we're heading through these stairs, you can see these blatant red lines. Makes it very PS1 looking. I've just reloaded the game because there was one thing I forgot to show you. This is the patient that was chasing us a moment ago. If you look here, you can see his legs are facing us because of the way his feet are pointed. But if you look up, it seems as if he is facing away from us. He's not wearing any shoes, and according to Spooky's Steam forum, in Japan, if you wish to commit suicide, it's traditional to do it barefoot. Nurse Tanaka. It wasn't me, I swear it wasn't. It may have been my body and my hands, but I know it wasn't me. I found out how to stop them. You see, they are in my head and can control me for a time. But if I keep using the radiology machine to dose my head with radiation, then they will go away for a while. This giant maze is home to a cow monster. In the original game, is far more dangerous because he's incredibly fast. But here he is very slow in comparison. I actually went through this entire maze without ever seeing him, so I'm just going to wait for him to appear. There we are. Nice little 3D model. If you look at him from the side, you can see he's indeed a cow that's just upside down, and he's using his horns to go after us. The monsters in Karamari Hospital are no threat at all, other than the bandaged patient, but his scene ends rather fast. That guy takes quite a beating. In the original Karamari, it's quite easy to get killed by him. There's a lot of dead ends in this maze, and if that happens, he will catch up with you and do you in. But here he's been nerfed quite extremely, to the point where As said before, I didn't even see him when I first went through this maze. We're going to come up to this little demon child. The reason he's saying please don't hurt me is because I've been killing monsters with the sword. If you don't use the sword on them, then he says, please hurry, there is still time, you must stop this facility and shut it down. I really don't like that line because it implies that that's what we're going to do. It gives us an objective and says, yes, we are now going to stop this facility and stop all these experiments from going on. But you don't, the game just ends and Karamari Hospital doesn't have any sort of conclusion. There's an important note here which explains Spooky's backstory. The little girl that talks to us throughout the entire game. I hate myself for what I am doing, but I cannot wait any longer. Your mother puts on a brave face, but I know she wants this too. I am making fair progress in bringing you back, but it seems to only work for a moment even with larger thresholds. Today I think I found the answer. A second device is needed to bind the spirit to the earth after it has been brought back. I know this sounds macabre, but I will turn it off and let you return to heaven after your mother and I get to see you again. The ghost they're talking about is Spooky herself. That note talking about the machine and trapping the spirit to earth, it only appears in New Game Plus. In the original game, it's a letter from the mother, not the father, and it says she was just this little girl and during Halloween she scared a veteran with fireworks. He got scared by this, had some sort of PTSD flashback, and he shot her. And that's how Spooky died. A while later the father decided to go a bit Ghostbusters and brought her back. Now we're in the deformity wing, the most disappointing part of Karamari Hospital unfortunately. This was added at a later date alongside Sunshine Academy. And if you look at this wall, it looks like a mouth with teeth opened up. There are no secrets in the deformity wing, there is nothing special about it other than what we are seeing now. All of these doors are in very bad shape, most of them are broken and they don't have a sound effect. There are some rooms you can go in. Which rooms you go in I believe are random, however there are only 3 different types of rooms you can enter. Even though where I'm standing right now it appears that there's some sort of dead end which may hold some sort of secret, but it doesn't. This hallway will endlessly repeat itself. I have spent well over an hour in the deformity wing in the base game and found nothing of interest whatsoever. Fortunately, it's easy to find your way back because you can always see the exit sign no matter how far away you are in the hallway. It's a bit annoying because if you do not know about the deformity wing and that it infinitely loops, you may go through it like say 20 times to try and find any secrets, and then you'll be disappointed because you find none whatsoever, and then you have to run back 20 times in order to get out.
Oh, there you are. I guess there are still some hidden things down here. Well, keep going, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. See you later.
Spooky says that there are hidden things here and that we should keep going. This implies that there is more to this DLC, but there isn't. This is the end of the game. As soon as I walk through this door, I lose control of my character and he automatically walks through this hallway. Sometimes what happens is he just stands still and it just cuts to black and the credits roll. In the original version of Karamari, when you complete it, there are these credits saying, you know, thank you for supporting me, I'd like to thank my parents and my friends, my community, what have you. And it lists special thanks, such as YouTubers like Mr. Craven and Harshly Critical. Matt from Two Best Friends is actually missing from these credits, even though he is a voice actor, because he voiced that room with all the floating blood saying please help me. Here's the list of voice actors right now. It's probably an oversight. My guess is that they probably forgot about him, but I think that's quite a shame because I really like the Best Friends. It's a bit unusual that he was credited in the original Karamari, but he's completely absent here. One thing I do like though is the credit music. I think it's really cool. This is the end of Karamari Hospital. There is nothing more to show you as far as I know. Oh, but there is one thing to tell you. Sheena, one of the devs, has spoken on the community forums, and she says that there is a new ending coming out for the base game and that it will be here very soon. No specific dates though. And also in August, mod workshop support is to appear for Spookies. It's gonna be the build your own mansion mode, so members of the community will be able to build their own levels for everyone to play. One thing I do want to say as well, if you have this game, read the patch notes. They are hilarious and probably better than the game itself. I've had a lot of fun reading the patch notes for Spookies. They're always very funny and humorous, like we have added a new coffee machine, Specimen 2 is now faster. Education is the answer, we have fixed the spelling mistake in room 350, stuff like that. A final thing to also say, it's a bit of a mystery. When Karamari Hospital came out for HD Renovation, the patch note says there is a secret added to the base game. For the life of me, I do not know what this is. I've looked at the forums and the wiki, but I cannot find a clue as to what it could be. Maybe one day we'll find out. But anyway, that was Karamari Hospital for HD Renovation. Take care.